Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to go through some of those recap questions. We'll quickly go through them now. Number one, what is the tone of the poem Daffodils? If you clicked that it is joyful or happy, well done. That is the correct answer. Remember, we talked about the fact that daffodils have connotations of spring, of renewal, of happiness. Okay, so the tone of the poem is joyful and happy. Recap number two. Ooh, drawing lines everywhere. Recap number two. Which section of a what, how, why paragraph is the following from? This is exhibited in the quotation, I wandered as lonely as a cloud, which evokes the idea that the speaker has entered a utopia with the simile demonstrating the joyful nature of this place. Okay, so what section of the paragraph would that bit be from? Correct, it would be from a how section, okay, because we've concluded the quotation here. We've started to do a little bit of analysis, not the best analysis, but we've started to do a little bit of analysis of the quotation. Okay, so it's from the how section. A connotation is what? Either a metaphor, a feeling or idea associated with a thing, when something is another thing, or a type of cheese. I hope none of you put a type of cheese. I'm sure there would have been one or two of us who thought it was funny. But anyway, connotation is a feeling or idea associated with a thing. Well done. Or with a word, the way that a word makes you feel. Lovely. Recap number 4. Structure includes, so when you're talking about structure, it includes language techniques, the rhyme scheme, word choices, or word choices. You are right. It is the rhyme scheme. Well done. Ignore option 4. That won't be on your form. That is just a mistake. Okay, challenge recap. What is the structure of a comparison, and why is it different to our usual paragraphs? Now, you should, I can't write in it, should have come up with the idea that it is what, how, why, how, why. Okay? And the reason we don't have another what there is because in the first what, we talk about both of the poems, don't we? Remember, we talk about both of them. We compare them using words such as whereas, or similarly, or in contrast to connect them together. Okay? Well done if you got those all right. Remember, feel free to change them. That is why it's a recap. We're going back through the work. Right. Let's move on to what I know you all are really excited to do. I know you're all excited to do it. Okay? You're going to have a go at writing a nature poem today. Now, you just need a couple of things to be able to do this. Because we're going to be making notes as we go along to build up the poem, you need a piece of paper or somewhere you can write notes. It can be on the notes section on your computer or whatever you've been using before now to write stuff down, but you do need something to write with. Okay, so you need a piece of paper and a pen, or if you're writing on your computer, fine. But you need those now. So if you haven't got that in front of you, pause the video and make sure you've got them, okay? You also need your imagination, all right? Because today we're going to be doing something that's creative and requires you to use your imagination. So pause the video if you need to collect those bits and pieces. If not, let's get going. Okay, so before we move on to creating our poems, we're going to be doing a quick Looks Like Alright check on this vocabulary, just because we're using it today and it's always useful to have a little bit more vocabulary. Okay, so your 5 words today. Imagination, the ability to be creative and create mental images of things and events. Today, you are going to be using your imagination. So that is one of the words you need to learn. Number 2, characteristics, a feature or quality belonging to someone, or the features and qualities belonging to someone. Anonymous, not identified by name. So if something is anonymous, it is not identified by name. You often don't have a description of the person either, so it's completely, you completely have no idea who it is. So that's anonymous. Number 4, magnificent, wonderful, amazing, okay? And number 5, blazing, intense or very hot. Often the word blazing is associated with the sun. You can say the sun was blazing down, okay? So those are your 5 words today that you're going to spend a few minutes, look, say, cover, write, checking. The super challenge today is I would like you to use at least 3 of these words in a sentence and post it in the Google Stream, Okay, so that is your super challenge. I expect to see some of those posted in there. The more creative, the better. Okay, so spend about 5 minutes. Look, say, cover, write, check these words. Do the super challenge if you are in those groups that normally do, or if you want to have a go. There'll be extra merits put on. Look, say, cover, write, check those words. 5 minutes. Pause the video. Off you go. Okay, if I'm talking and you haven't paused the video, remember you need to pause the video. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself confused. Okay, so pause the video. If you're still, look, say, cover, write, checking. If you're not, let's move on. Right, you're going to listen and read along to this poem. Okay, just listen and read along. They are a golden daffodil dancing in the breeze. They are the smell of freshly cut grass blowing across from the neighbour's garden. They're early summer when the days are longer. They're a bright sunny day with not a cloud in the sky. They are midday with the sun blazing down, reminding us to wear sun cream. They're a magnificent peacock strutting across the lawn with inky green feathers. They're also a dolphin, happily jumping through the waves. They're a busy bumblebee looking for a new flower to be friends with. They mean the world to me. Okay? Perhaps a bit of a strange poem. But anyway, I want you to think, I want you to name some of the characteristics of the person this poet is describing. Okay, so remember we learned that characteristics means features or qualities belonging to someone. So I want you to think and name some of the characteristics this person has. Okay, just going to pause for a second. What characteristics, what is this person like that this poet has described? What are they like? Jot them down on your piece of paper if you want. Shout them out at your screen. Okay. I put a few ideas down here that might be similar to what you've been thinking of. I put that they're quite happy. They're a joyful person because of the use of the word daffodils. Let's see if I can get this to work again. The use of the word daffodils and summer, and it's a bright sunny day. Ooh, I really can't use that pen. They are all vocabulary choices or description or words that have connotations of happiness and joy. So I think this person's quite joyful, quite a happy person. Because remember, they're describing this person as poem, aren't they? They're saying they are a golden daffodil. What else can we say that they're like? I've said that they're helpful because they're reminding them to wear sun cream. You know, they're very helpful. They're helping them to wear sun cream. I've also said that they might be fashionable because of the magnificent peacock. Now, I always think peacocks, I'm going to give up with the pen. I always think of peacocks as being quite fashionable birds. As quite a random association, but that's what I have the connotation of in my mind. You know, with their feathers that all stick out, they're quite, they've got a bit of edge to them, I guess, compared to other birds. I also said that they're sociable or friendly. So there's a busy bumblebee looking for a new flower to be friends with. So they're quite a sociable or friendly person. Okay, so all of these connotations I've got out of words from in this poem. Now, you might be going, but miss, they're not describing a person. They're describing all of these different animals or ideas or flowers. If we look here, it says they are a golden daffodil dancing in the breeze. They are using metaphors to describe someone, okay? They're using metaphors to describe the characteristics of this person. Don't worry if you're confused. It will all make sense in a bit. Okay. Our task. I want you to think of someone to write the poem about. So you're going to be writing a poem that is not dissimilar to this one. Okay, it's going to be very similar to this one. So I need you to think of someone that you're going to write about. Okay, it could be a parent, a friend, a sibling, a grandparent. It might be the person you're going to read the poem to in your cheerful challenge. It could even be yourself, okay? But I need you to think of someone, just one person, that you're going to write the poem about. And don't worry, because the poem will be anonymous, okay? It'll be anonymous. So you need to think of one person to write the poem about. Now you can jot that down if you want, or you can just keep it in your mind, okay? This one person that you're going to write the poem about. Okay, have you got that? If you've not got it, pause the video until you can think of someone. Could be the first person that comes to mind. It should be someone you know fairly well, so you can write, some fairly good things about it, okay? Right. Hopefully we've all got that person in our minds now. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, okay? And you are going to write down on your piece of paper the first thing that comes to mind based on the person you were thinking about, okay? I'll give you an example for the first one. So, if this person were a flower, was a flower, what would they be? Now, if we look back at this poem, the poet said that they were a daffodil. Okay, you don't need to worry about writing any of this extra description, just the one thing, okay? So here, they wrote that they were a daffodil. So number one, just write number one, and then the flower, okay? If they were a smell, what smell would they be? I want you to try and link this to nature, but what smell would they be if they were a smell? Number three, what season would they be? Would they be spring, summer, autumn, or winter? Remember, this is all based on the person you were thinking about. If that person, for example, if you're using your sister, if your sister was a season, what season would she be? Okay, number four. If they were a bird, what bird would they be? Don't worry if you don't know many birds. If they were a bird, what bird would they be? Number five, if they were the weather, what type of weather would they be? Would they be a sunny day? Would they be a rainy day? Would they be when it's snowing? Would they be a particularly windy day? Would they be one of those crisp mornings in winter? Up to you. What weather would they be? Number six, what time of day would they be? Would they be early morning or late at night? Would they be lunchtime or break time? What time of day would they be? Number seven, what animal would they be? What animal would they be? Tricky one, that one. What animal would they be? Remember, you can think about fish, or farm animals, or pets, or wild animals from Africa, like lions and elephants. Number eight, final one. Oh, actually, it's not the final one. What insect would they be? Well, you don't just have to think about negative insects. There are butterflies and dragonflies and some quite magnificent insects as well. Number nine, final one. What do they mean to you? Okay. What do they mean to you? For example, on this one, at the end, they said they mean the world to them. Okay. So what do they mean to you? Okay. Hopefully, you now have a list of 9 things just on your piece of paper answering those questions for the person you were thinking about, okay? If you've not quite got them and you're still thinking, it's okay, you can pause the video and you can have a go at writing those down. So if they were a flower, smell, season, bird, weather, time of day, animal, insect. and what do they mean of you, okay? So you need something for each of those steps. If you're really, really struggling for one, you can either use one from the poem we looked at before or just leave it blank, okay? But I really want you to try and have as many as you can, okay? Okay, right. So we've all got a list of 9 things now, but they are just one word. That's not good enough for a poem, is it? We can't just have one word things. Right. Now, next task number 3, is you're going to add description to at least 4 of your answers, and you're going to think creatively. Don't panic, we're going to go through this in a second. If you are in S1, S2, J1 and J2, I expect you to add description to most of your answers, okay? So you need to try and add a bit of description to most of the answers. Everyone else, I want you to try and do at least 4. You can do more if you want, but at least 4. Okay? Right. Let's work it out. So, for example, number 1, we answered for example, the poet from before would have answered number 1 with daffodil. So if they were a flower, they would have been a daffodil. So here I've written, they are a daffodil. Okay? That's what you would have so far, that they are a daffodil. I have then added in an adjective. They are a golden daffodil. So I've got the colour. I have then added in, they are a golden daffodil dancing in the breeze. So I've added in a metaphor. You may recognise this metaphor from one of the poems we looked at this week. I've added that in there. They are a golden daffodil dancing in the breeze. Okay. Finally, I've added in an adverb. Gently. They are a golden daffodil gently dancing in the breeze. So you see here how we've gone from they are a daffodil, just a daffodil, to they are a golden daffodil dancing in the breeze. Okay, so we've extended the description. We've used developed description. We've used an adverb. We've added in a metaphor or an extended metaphor. Okay? So we've built up the description. It doesn't have to be this much description for each of your points, but I want you to try and use at least one of each of these per answer, okay? So one of each of these per answer. So your task, let's go through it again. Your task is to add description to at least 4 of your answers, okay? You're going to think creatively. You're going to build up the answer, which would look originally like this, with whatever answer you had here. And I want you to build it up and add to it until you've got a really nice bit of description. You're going to try and use at least one of these from in here, okay? If you're stuck, post it in the Google Stream. Now, I have done some helpful hints in this box for you. I've put some extra questions next to it to give you ideas of what you could use for your description. Okay, for example, the bird one, number 4, I put, how does it fly? What does it look like? How can you use that to help you? How can you use those questions to help you find one of these to build the description? Okay, so at least 4. You're going to just write those down in your notebook because in a bit we're going to be putting it all together as a poem in the Google form. Okay, so pause the video, add description to at least 4 of your answers. We're going to be creative now, okay? I want you to post your favourite one in the Google Stream as well, okay? It'd be really nice to see some really creative bits and pieces flying into there at the same time, okay? Fabulous. Right, pause the video. I want you to spend no less than 5 minutes doing this, okay? You need to be thinking about it. If you're spending less than 5 minutes, then you can do more of them. Okay, you can do more of your answers and add more of these into it and develop that description. Okay, so pause the video, write it down in your notebook, add that description, off you go. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to add some description to your answers. If you're still going and I'm talking same as before, make sure you pause the video. Right, you're doing really, really well. Some of the ones we've seen in the stream, brilliant. Okay, right. It is time to write your finished poem in the Google form. Yes, it is as easy as that. You are all poets already, but we want to see the finished poem in the Google form. Right, there are sentence starters to help guide you, and I'm going to go through what I mean by that. Okay, right. Let me just get up my Google form. Okay, this is the Google form that you've been working on today. There will be another video here, just ignore that for a second. Okay, here is where you're going to write your poem. And I've said start each line with they are, he or she is, or I am. Now, only use I am if you have written the poem about yourself, okay? He or she is, fairly straightforward, and they are as well. Okay, so for example, I might write, they are a golden daffodil. He smells like, what was it, freshly cut grass. They are a bird flying high above. You see what I'm doing? I'm just using these sentence starters to start the poem, okay? I will add in, just underneath here, a picture with those sentence starters in as well, okay? So you have them there. So your task is to write your finished poem in the Google form, okay? Using the sentence starters to help guide you. Remember to try and use at least one of these per line, okay? So your finished poem will end up looking a little bit like this, okay? This is your guide to what your poem is going to look like. Now remember, you're doing it based on one person, using these answers to the questions you looked at earlier. That will be the order that you do it in. Adding in your description and using the sentence starters to help guide you, okay? Now this is meant to be a bit of fun, so just try and be as creative as you can, okay? It would be lovely if we have however many, maybe 200 poems, all completely different, all really creative, all submitted in there by the end of the day, okay? So remember to only use at least one of these. Be as creative as you can be. If you've got a particularly favourite line that you've written, can you post it in the stream, because we love seeing them, okay? Well done. Good luck at writing your poem. Cannot wait to read them. Off you go.